Morning.
Morning.
And we're recording. Right, so this morning, I'm not going to do my fact because we're running a little bit late. We're nearly at 15:15. So we'll save that for next month. So we'll keep you all in
Oh,
suspense.
I can deal with the suspense, Caroline.
It's a great fact as well. But yeah, so we'll wait till next month for that. So as we're at the start of the 23-24 new tax year, we will be looking at upskilling, qualifications and gaining insight as to how you juggle work and day-to-day life while studying. And firstly, we're going to go to Fiona Bradley, who's a director and partner at Sage Qualifications. Fiona's the IAB 2022 award winner for innovation, will be taking us through the Sage qualification platform and the qualifications within the portfolio, which include computerised bookkeeping, payroll, and the popular CIS scheme. Are you there, Fiona?
I am indeed. So can I share my screen?
Yes, hopefully.
Well, I've got a big green button that says share screen.
Yep.
So
Try it.
if I put, hang on a sec. Okay. So I might just get a picture of you for a minute. So
There we are. And I'm assuming
okay,
that's your
fine.
screen.
Yes, so you can see the portal now, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yes, good. Okay.
Yep.
So we have a qualifications portal where we host, it's a Moodle portal, and this is where we host all of our qualifications, where the learners can access software, learning materials, assessments and certification. So when a learner gets an invitation to the portal, this is what they see. They'll click the link and they'll be sent here. So we'll just log in. And they'll get a dashboard like this. Now my dashboard, just move all this across. My dashboard is complicated because obviously I'm dealing with a lot of different qualifications and a lot of awarding bodies. They will only see the course that they are enrolled onto. So I'm going to move into a sample course just for the moment, and then we can look at the individual courses. But for the IAB, we run computerized accounting level 1, 2 and 3, and then we have the construction industry stream, and I can nip in and out of those and show you what the content is. And then we have payroll as well. We have payroll, same principle, 1, 2 and 3, and we're pretty good at upgrading the material. So you'll notice there that we've got 23-24, that is just about to go live. We've just about upgraded all the materials to accommodate the new tax year. So we're pretty hot on making sure that we've got up-to-date materials. So I'm going to nip into my sample course because this has got pretend learners on, and it doesn't matter where I go in the course, and I can show you how it all works and the reports, the learning reports that you can pull off. And then I can nip into the other courses just to show you the contents, but all the courses work on exactly the same principle. So first of all, your learner will get an invitation to the portal. They will only get their course that they've subscribed to, and they will click into the course and see the Let's Get Started video. The Let's Get Started video is something that then explains how the portal works, how they get hold of their software, and how to access the learning materials and assessments, etc. They have to watch the video. We put it there and made it not compulsory, and then got asked lots of questions about how the learning materials work. So we've now made it compulsory to watch and done a quiz to make sure that they have watched it, and nothing releases until they've watched the video and done the quiz to prove that they've watched the video. So you can see this isn't going to work unless they've done the Let's Get Started quiz. It's only 10 questions. We give them the right answers at the end of the questions. It's very easy, but it does stop being asked silly questions like, where's my software? So software is here. Everybody has access to Sage Business Cloud software for 6 months. Click the link as the registration, and here's what they put into the software to register for the software. It's a live copy of the software. It's no different to what a commercial user is using. It's just that it's time limited for 6 months. It's the premium version. It's the Accounts Plus, but it's the cloud software, not Sage 50. So they can buy a hard copy workbook if they want to. Most people don't bother with it, but if they want to retain some notes afterwards, then that's fine. That's an option. They don't need to do that. So the introduction unit will open after the Let's Get Started quiz has been viewed and passed. So now it's organized that they have the course workbook, which is an ebook. It's an ebook because we need to be able to put videos in it. We need to be able to change the materials quickly if Sage changes something, because remember, this is cloud software. It's dynamic. It's in the cloud. Sage do change things. We do get notification once a week of what the changes are, and then we'll reflect them in the course workbook. So all the printable, all the tasks and activities that are in the course workbook are available as a printable file, because this is an ebook, you can't print it out, but here's all the tasks and activities that they've got to do, and they can tick the boxes, or they can print it out if they want to. So everything that we ask them to do in the course workbook is available here, so that they don't have to have the course workbook if they don't, the course workbook open if they don't want to. But remember, it's cloud software, so they just open up another tab, and that's where the software is. And so it's very easy to use the cloud software at the same time as using the learning materials. So introduction unit is just setting the software up, really. And we've tried to keep it simple. Lots of pictures, not a lot of text, videos, as I said, and then something to do. So do a little bit of reading, look at the pictures, watch the video if you want to, and then there's something to do. And in this instance, it's creating the customer and supplier accounts. So when they've created the customer and supplier accounts, we do give them the model answers to check their work with. So click here, that's a hyperlink will open up to the model answers. That's what their answer should look like. And we tell them, check that your list looks like that before moving forward. However, we found from experience, and particularly during lockdown, people didn't, and they would move forward with incorrect data. So we developed the Sage Data Auto Marker, which is we're very proud of this. This is our secret weapon to make sure that everybody's got correct data. So what the auto marker does, I'll just nip here to show you. It looks into the Sage Business Cloud software and it marks the data and returns a feedback report. So I can show you that in practice, but that means no more ticking off of reports. This will do it for you. So we tell them, okay, do the first 3 activities, return to the course, upload your first activities, which is simply the customer and supplier address list and some nominal codes. And before you move forward, please get your data marked by the auto marker. And so here we are. Here's my list of pretend students. I've got a tutor view, so I can see Bob Sage would only see his view. He can click in and see what he's got right. Now, if you've got anything wrong, it would be marked in red. And if you hover over it, you will see what he's put in. So for customers and suppliers, we expect 100% correct data because it's very easy to correct the data. They can just go back and put it right before they move forward. And as you all know, if you move forward with incorrect data, it never gets any better. It's a bit like knitting. You've got to undo it all to go back to put it right. So then the next unit will open, which in this case is opening balances and journals. Bob's passed. Here we are now. D Sage has failed. So this data is purposefully incorrect in a lot of areas. So she's put the wrong date in here. If I hover over it, you can see what she's put in. She's put in 1706 and it should be 18. And here she's put in 323 and it should be 324. And then these figures are wrong. So she's failed. So the auto marker now will not let her through to the next unit until she's corrected the data, resubmitted it to the auto marker, and then the next unit will open up. So she has to pass that unit to have correct data to move forward. So it all works in harmony, and the next unit will open up as soon as they've got correct data. When we get down to the bank and competitive cash transactions, we aren't quite as strict because altering a bank reconciliation is quite difficult, and we do hand the ability to move the learner forward if there's mistakes over to the tutor, so they can override the mark and let them through. But we're getting towards the end of the course, so it's not quite as important. So there's always a practice assessment, which is now just a case study. We've got no learning instructions here at all. It is just a case study. I'm sure you're used to these. It's just a list of activities. Okay, bank reconciliation. And again, it is auto-marked. So, but they can go through that as many times as they like. They can go through the practice assessment as many times as they like. When it gets to the final assessment, it is time limited. I put a code in here, and that switches on a timer. The timer will pop up here in the corner, and it'll start to count down. So on this timer, it's 3 hours to complete the auto mark, to complete the assessment, and to complete just to offer the data to the auto marker, and then it's marked. And again, as tutors, you are able not to see the marks necessarily, but you are able to get a course report. So you are able to see the areas that your learners have passed or failed. So, and it's quite detailed. So it'll say, well, there were 2.5 marks available in the bank payments area, and your learners scored 2.5 marks. And it goes like that across. So it'll tell you what the learner got in each particular area. And then if the learner passes the final auto marker, the SAGE certificate's released and a digital badge. And we do find the SAGE certificate is very powerful for employability, because that logo is, is something that employers recognise, and they know that the learner will now be able to hit the ground running, so to speak. They'll be able to start immediately being useful to the organisation. So we have got Sage 50, but Sage 50 we cannot auto mark, because obviously that's installed software. It's installed onto the learner's machine. So we tend to always say you are better to use the cloud software qualifications, because of the fact they can be auto marked, because they're in the cloud, and because there's no install issues. So we've got computerized accounting level 1, which is simple. It's got introduction unit, quick entries, which is sales and purchase invoices, bank and petty cash, sales invoices, creating sales invoice and trial balance. It's got a practice assessment, and then it's got the final assessment. So that's quite a nice, simple little course. We've got level 2, which is, as you would expect, more comprehensive. We start now talking about opening balances and journals, management reports, and data security. And this is producing invoices, and I think it goes into bad debt write-off. Oh no, settlement discount. Yes, so that is producing invoices, settlement discount, fixed assets, and budgeting. So that's a quick overview of level 2, but you will find the contents pages on our website or on the IAB's website. We've got the construction industry scheme, which is quite popular. That's for anybody having to deal with CIS tax. That's quite nice because it has a little bit of a manual unit that before it moves into the use of the software. So we do explain how CIS works in the manual units, and they get to work CIS tax out manually. So they get to actually use the CIS functionality within the software, putting in purchase invoices, raising sales invoices, and what to do with other customer receipts and other supply and other payments that are not applicable to CIS tax. And then we have the level 3, which is, as you would expect, quite a complicated course. And because it's quite advanced, there's a lot of data auto markers, and we do use import files to prevent them having to enter lots of data to be able to produce reports. We'll give them import files here so that they can quickly get up to speed without entering customer and supplier information, and doing a lot of data entry that they've already learned in the previous levels. So that's the accounting software, and then with the payroll. And with 3 levels of the payroll. So they're, again, very popular, particularly level 3, because there's not many people that do level 3. Level 1, as you would expect, is quite a simple assessment, quite a simple qualification, sorry. Level 2 goes into more detail, and we start to talk about SMP, SSP, holiday pay, etc. So here we are. Adoption pay, attachment of earnings orders. We do leave us in level 1, and we do start us in level 1. We talk about pensions. We do talk about pensions in level 1, but we do more about the different schemes in level 2. Holiday pay and period end procedures. So that's where that differs to level 1. And level 3, as you would expect, is even more complicated, and deals with directors' national insurance, again, holiday pay, advanced holiday pay, redundancy, working out the cost of wages, payroll verification reconciliation, correcting errors, termination of employment, and we do year-end processing in level 3 as well, which is something that we don't cover in the previous levels. Okay, I'm conscious that I've speeded through it because I want to give you a chance for any questions.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. We're running that late this morning. Sorry to everyone for the link issues, and I think there's still problems joining. Anyway, I've got a question for you, Fiona. My IAB computerized payroll course has still got a pilot test where I have to do tax year 19 to 20, and I'm finding it hard to find software to do this. Our
software doesn't go back that far, I'm afraid.
No.
No.
On a separate note, Gail, I would Google listen to the taxman and have a look at that website, because you've just put in the year that you're trying to work the payroll out for, and that might help. I'm not sure. And then we've got quite a lot of people that have had problems getting in. I didn't get a new link. How do we? Tanya said, how do we access this portal? I've been doing my Sage certifications through the Sage U portal.
Oh, Sage University. Okay, so that's different. Sage University is customer training only. You don't get a chance to use the software. You certainly don't get any tests. You get basic customer learning materials, but you don't get any of this. Is why this is different, because we deliver controlled tests. How do you get access? Contact the IAB.
Fiona, sorry, Sam here. I was going to say, just to give some broader context to people who probably not aware of our relationship and our and the fact that we have your qualifications on our website. Could you just give a bit of a background as to how to work? Because obviously go on the website, but I know you shared is the portal.
Well, all the registrations come via the IAB team. So I have to say I don't know how that works, other than the fact that we get sent a list of learners and then we will enroll them.
Okay, so I guess the most obvious thing is if you're interested in any of these qualifications, to go to the IAB website There's the shop area, and obviously within our qualifications section on the website, we'll give you an overview of the courses, and that is how you would access this platform.
I mean, certainly, most certainly, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm happy that you can share my email address. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just writing a message in the chat. Someone's group are having problems getting in. Can I just ask Fiona before I carry on with this message? When you do the CIS one, do you learn about doing CIS, or do you learn about the Sage way of doing CIS?
No. You learn about we do. It has a manual part to it, so you do actually learn about CIS tax and how it works. Right.
So I wouldn't then have to go on and get the Sage software to do it.
No, the Sage software is included
across.
The Sage software is included here.
All right. Okay.
But we do have a manual part to the qualification where we explain all about CIS tax and how CIS tax works before you start putting information into Sage.
All right. Lovely. Thank you. And then how can we get listed on the Sage account directory? That's from Sean.
Oh, okay. That's more of a Sage question rather than a qualifications question. So I would just contact their as customer services at Sage directly.
Right. Lovely. Anybody
so
else?
you can see we talk about introduction to accounting and subcontractors taxation, and we explain all about the domestics reverse charge.
Yeah.
So
that's the VAT, isn't it?
No, that's the VAT. No, not. Oh, yeah, it is the VAT. Sorry, yes,
Yeah.
it is the VAT.
You're
but
confusing me now.
Yeah, it's how it reverse charge isn't VAT, but it's how to apply the VAT.
How to apply the VAT reverse.
So you can see it's all manual. This is, and then there's some manual exercises about you to make sure that you do understand how reverse charge works. So they do it all manually first.
Yeah, and I know you don't get a hard copy, but just as a thing, I actually, when I did my studying, I got hard copies and I still have them. I
can buy
kept them all, so I can
buy them if you want to
go back and
it's an option.
Right. Well, thank you for that, Fiona. I don't think there's any more questions coming through.
But if you think of anything afterwards, then put them into the chat and send them over to me. That's absolutely fine. But I can only answer questions about Sage qualifications if it's wider to do with Sage as an organisation. Then I can signpost you, but I might not be able to answer the question.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And now we're going to go on to Laura. Are you there, Laura?
I am indeed.
Ah, there you are. Good morning again.
Morning.
Laura's the editor of the CIPP, and she's good. Hold on. Laura's from the CIPP's, I can't read my own notes now, policy and research team. Will be speaking about her recent experience of studying for her foundation degree in payroll management whilst working.
I'm going to try and share my screen, but apologies. I'm a Teams person, not a Zoom one. So just bear with me 2 seconds and I'll try and get that up.
Is it letting you?
I think so. Can everybody see that?
I've currently got a message saying you've started screen sharing.
And can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
No, I can't. Ah, yes, can now.
Okay, perfect.
My study experiences is,
that's the one. So I'm glad we've got the technical stuff out the way, because I have had some nightmares with online presenting in the past. So I'm glad that this is all up in front of you. So as Caroline said, I'm the editor at the CIPP, and I actually edit our membership magazine Professional, which goes out to obviously our members and updates them all on all of the goings on in the world of payroll, which recently has been just crazy. There have been so many changes. And while this has all been going on, I've also been studying. So I've been studying the CIPP's foundation degree in payroll management. So I did speak to Sam from IAB, and I was really interested in sharing my experiences with you. If any of you are studying yourselves, obviously this is very personal to me. These are my tips that have helped me, and I hope that they'll help you too. But as I said, this is very personal and everyone's different. So yeah, so just to give you a bit of background, when I was looking at putting these slides together, I did actually want to find someone juggling, but I couldn't find that image. So I settled with this image of a tightrope, because at times I did feel like I was walking along a tightrope, because I was juggling so many things. As I say, I edit our magazine. We put out 10 issues per year. That's typically once a month, but we do have double headers in July and August, and December and January. So as you can imagine, really stringent deadlines, and deadlines that I cannot miss. Same with when you work in a payroll department, you have those deadlines that are set in place and you must adhere to them, because otherwise people don't get paid. So always had these very high pressure deadlines as I was studying. Caroline also mentioned that I'm part of the policy team. So prior to becoming editor, I was actually a policy and research officer. I think I'm always going to be a policy and research girl. It's almost in my blood now. So I'm still looking out for news that's going on. I still get involved in responding to consultations and speaking to the government. And I also do presentations like the one today. So again, another really busy element to my working life. There was also studying for the degree, which if any of you have gone through a degree, you'll know that it isn't just as simple as allocating a little bit of time each week. It needs to be consistent, and you need to make sure that you're hitting deadlines when it comes to assignments and obviously exams. I've also included on here that I do actually have a small daughter too. So I sometimes refer to that as my second job, because as you can imagine, that takes up a lot of time too. I have my own house, which I have to look after, and I have included a little bit of a jokey bullet point as the last point. I do try and have a social life when I've actually got the time to as well. So it has very much been a balancing act and a juggling act over the last 3 years. So that's a bit of my background. Now, the bit that I really wanted to get into was some of my tips. So hopefully these will help you if you feel levels of high stress, which we're only human. And when we have lots of things piling up and lots of responsibilities, it's only natural to feel overwhelmed. So my first and my top tip, I would say, is to take a step back and breathe. Now, everyone knows that I'm quite an anxious person. I've been told that I flap. So when I've got lots going on, it's really important to me to take stock of everything around me and to take a step back and think, right, I can only conquer what I can conquer, and to sort of break things down into manageable chunks. So that is my first tip: take a step back and breathe. Make use of the resources available to you. So when I was studying the CIPP's foundation degree, there were so many resources there for me to use. So the reading materials, our tutors, they weren't just limited to scheduled slots that we had with them. We could speak to them out of hours. So I'd really encourage you to engage with your tutor. Discussions with fellow students, that could be around the content of the qualification, but also they might be able to help with tips around scheduling their time, because they may be working alongside studying as well. And with the particular degree that I took, we had module review days and tutorials. Now, the sorts of sessions that you'll get will obviously depend on the qualification that you're undertaking, but any of those events, I'd try and make sure you go to as many as possible, because you'll be best equipped to deal with any assignments, exams that you may have to do. A massive one for me is plan study time and stick to it. So I'm very guilty at work of having reminders and snoozing them. That's not advisable with study time. I'd say you should try and stick to those scheduled slots that you put in for yourself as much as possible. Did actually read a really interesting article this morning about not touching things twice. So when you get something, deal with it then, there and then, because a do it later sometimes becomes a never do it. So I'd try and say, where possible, try and stick to those deadlines that you've given to yourself. Give yourself a break. Like I said, you are only human. Juggling work, studying, and maybe being a parent, you know, it is accepted that that's difficult and that it's stressful. So give yourself a break. Checklists. I'm a huge fan of checklists. I have post-its everywhere with notes on. And if you're anything like me, I feel amazing when I've ticked a task off. I'm like, yes, that's one hurdle down. Now I've just got to tackle X, Y, and Z. And I think checklists are really important as well to ensure that you don't miss anything. With so much going on all the time, and obviously you have new bits of work that come in that take priority, it's easy to miss things. So I'd really, really encourage the use of checklists, and then anything you've got to carry forward, you can pick up the next time you study or your next working day. I did mention have discussions with your fellow students, but also talk to your colleagues, especially if you're studying for a qualification in the industry you work in. Who better to speak to than the other people that are living, breathing it every day? I know certainly when I was doing my degree, I leaned heavily on the wider policy team, asked for their advice on things, asked them to look through my work. Did it sound okay? So use your colleagues where possible as well. Make your line manager and your wider team aware of deadlines for your study. This will mean that they're aware that obviously you've got deadlines coming up, and it may also mean that they take some of the work off you that they can do to alleviate some of that pressure on you. I think communication is really important. If you feel like you're drowning, you really need to speak to somebody and not bottle it all up, because that's when stress becomes overwhelming, and when we start having problems meeting our deadlines. Accept there will be stressful times, and remember this and embrace them. So as I said, we're only human, and also recognise that the stressful period will be temporary. So you may have loads going on at the moment, but there will be a period where you get a hiatus and you aren't exposed to such considerable pressure. And my last one, I wanted to end on like a positive note, is celebrate. So when you do get those results, make sure that you are proud of yourself, that you let your friends and family know so that they can congratulate you too. And when you're having those periods where, say, your friends say, can you come to the pub, and you can't because you're revising or studying, remember that feeling that you get when you get that pass mark. And there'll be plenty of times in the future for you to go out and celebrate maybe those exam results. So those are just some of my top tips. As I said, they're very personal, and different things may work for you.
Thank you, Laura. Sorry.
There's more. Sorry, Caroline. I just wanted to talk about what studying meant for me. So I really like this image with the smiley cup of tea. I thought it was appropriate because we were on a coffee morning, and also it just summed up how I felt when I passed my degree. I was so happy after 3 years of, like I say, walking that tightrope and juggling lots of different things. I was really proud to say, right, I've got through this. I've done 3 years. It's been difficult, and I really deserve to have this qualification. So you do get an amazing feeling at the end of it. If anyone else has studied and passed their qualification, they'll know exactly what I mean. And I'm actually getting to go to graduation in November of this year, and I cannot wait. Although I am quite scared of walking across the stage and tripping over. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen. It opens more opportunities up for you and your career. Now, I did run through this with my team leader earlier, and when I said this point, she looked really worried. I don't just mean in terms of going off and working somewhere else. Within your own organisation, it will be recognised that you've passed this qualification and that you've worked hard. It proves on a personal level that I can balance a number of responsibilities. So this doesn't just help in your professional life. I think it's really boosted my confidence in my personal life too. It's furthered my understanding of payroll, which has obviously helped my role at the CIPP. And again, as I said earlier, if you're studying for a qualification in the industry that you work in, it's win-win really, because the two complement one another. Your working life will help you in your study life, and your study life will help you in your work life. So it's win-win. And finally, like I said earlier, you can take pride and know that you've got a really good achievement and that you've worked hard and that you've earned it. So that is just what study meant for me. Now, I did put time in for any questions, but also if anyone wanted to share their own experiences of studying, it'd be great if you could share your comments and ideas in the chat box.
Can I go now?
Yeah, I'm done now, Caroline.
Sorry about earlier, Laura.
That's okay.
Fiona's put in the chat, any questions, very happy to help. fiona.bradley@sagequalifications.com. And thank you for listening. So if any questions for Fiona, use that email. And now any questions for Laura? Carol's put, well done, Laura, and thank you so much for these tips.
No problem, and thank you.
Sarah wants unmuting.
Sorry, I'm sat in the corner. Been locked out.
Right.
Thank you. That was. I don't know if I ever told you you're a flapper, because you're not. You come across as very together and very confident.
Oh, I'm good at hiding it, Sarah. I've had lots of practice.
Yeah, and your story resonated a lot. I had young children and studying and working, but it's worth it. It's very much worth it to get to the other side.
100%.
I'd practice walking in the shoes that you're going to wear for you.
They're not going to be high heels. I can tell you that
flats.
now.
Flats are the way to go.
Maybe a mini heel.
Top tip.
So yeah, can you unmute me? Devon, thank you, Laura, noted and great tips. Karen, thank you, Laura, and well done. Lots of what you have said resonates with me and applies to many aspects of life. Helen, thank you, Laura. I think anybody who's done training and working and had a family at the same time appreciates what you've just said. And I know certainly when I was doing my qualifications and working night shifts as well, yeah, it was interesting times.
Yeah, interesting is a very diplomatic way of putting it.
Yeah, I do like to be diplomatic. Yeah, and well done. And
Thank you.
good luck for the future.
Yeah, and I like the point about just doing things once as well, rather than coming back to it, because yes, that's a good top tip in life, I think.
I did steal that from an article I read on LinkedIn this morning, but it is a good point. You know, we all have those things that we say we'll come back to it later, and then it becomes later and later, and then it becomes a never. So even if it's just a dealing with something as quickly as you can, dealing with it rather than leaving it is sometimes better.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Right.
go on, Caroline. Sorry,
Moving on. No, that's fine. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Fiona. So we're going to move on now to Sarah, who's now unmuted, for any HMRC updates. Okay, so I haven't particularly got any updates other than some feedback from the stakeholder day, HMRC stakeholder day I attended. There was about 200 people there, or stakeholders there, and really positive day. I really came away thinking HMRC had really heard the people in the room, and their takeaway was that they don't have to solve all the problems on their own. They actually need to listen to the people who are on the coalface, and we often have the answers. They just need to listen. So I think I thought there was a real sea change in HMRC's attitude, which I thought was really good. So there'll be more feedback as we go on, and as I suppose they absorb that. What I am going to say though today is that we sit on an awful lot of forums with HMRC, and I personally get involved in quite a lot of consultations, and they would be quite wide-ranging. So we sit, for example, on forums that include Making Tax Digital, especially for ITSA at the moment. We're on the agent forum, payroll forum, agent guidance. So what I'm requesting is that anybody has any issues with HMRC or anything that they would like to raise or any points, if they can email into Ali. Ali, if you can put your email in the chat, that would be helpful. Ali will collate any of those comments, because actually what's quite powerful for me is when I'm in those forums, or, I go very much representing the membership. So if there's any points that people want to raise, please send it in, and when appropriate, I will bring them forward and raise them. So yeah, I want your feedback. I want your participation. We can only change things if we have a voice, and I hopefully can be a channel for that voice. So thank you. Can I just read Ali's email out, because it's in the chat? It's ali@iab.org.uk. Thank you, Ali.
That would be great. So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Is anybody anything else? Janet, is Janet muted?
I'm unmuted now. No updates apart from that. I am for those all of you who have been shortlisted, if you've entered any of the categories for the awards, I am now doing the interviews with along with some of the sponsors. So look forward to speaking to you, those who have entered. I've been shortlisted. It's very exciting.
How long is you oh, I can't think of a word. Tell
Window
you.
judging.
Brain fog's killing me. When is it that you'll know who's won and who's won what?
No, the people who will be chosen as finalists will get the invite to the awards, and nobody will know until the 20th of June. The only people who will know will be the 3 judges,
Right.
and Samantha. So she's open to bribery, I'm sure.
When will people find out the finalists?
On that day. Well, no, the finalists you'll know probably quite soon after you've had the interview, because obviously we've got preparations beforehand, so we have to send it off. The certificates and the trophies, they all have to be printed and everything has to be done beforehand. Yeah. And obviously we have to get them to the House of Lords, and they have to go through security.
The finalists have to work out how they're getting there, and
so we try and let people know as soon as possible, so that they can have, they've got plenty of time to make travel arrangements and things like that. Right, because it's difficult. So as soon as we've interviewed all the ones, we normally make the decision quite quick.
Good.
Yeah, it's all go here. Yeah,
it's a bit manic for the next 2 weeks.
It's a bit manic to prep for the awards.
I'm like glued to Zoom for the next 2 weeks.
I hope you do better than we have this morning. Seem to have gone from one technical hitch to the next.
Yeah. Okay, not to worry.
Not to worry. These things happen.
But but it will be a recording. Will be up on the website probably later today, tomorrow, Wednesday. So if you know anyone who's been trying to get in, if you can let them know that the recording will be up shortly, and hopefully they can watch afterwards. So apologies.
Right, and on that, next meeting is the 17th of May at 11 AM, and hopefully we won't have any technical issues.
No.
So, meanwhile, thank you very much, everybody.
Brilliant, thank you.
Good luck with the awards and goodbye.
Accountex as well beforehand.
Oh right, yeah.
Yes, Accountex on May the 10th.
Yes.
Forgot about that. Yep. I'll be there.
Yes, we will all be there.
Yeah. Excellent.
See you all then. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.